Yeah, you really ninja launched us there, Logan. Over here getting stuff ready. Happy
I mean,
Friday afternoon, everybody.
he literally told us I'm going to hit the button.
And then he hit the button. He didn't even wait a little bit. You don't have to pull that up now. I'm just putting that in there, Logan.
It. Where the fuck are we?
You're just.
Bitcoin gets a little pump going and everyone just gets distracted.
Not used to starting on just a picture or something.
Are we considering this a pump?
Yeah, 100%. Was like the central bank of Marty is not declaring it a pump yet.
Where are we? Let me see. Over the last 7 days, Bitcoin is up 11%. That's a pump. That's a good pump.
We're at 10% week, I feel like, is a...
Currently sitting at $122,084. Ooh, cold opening with this. Beautiful landscape coming to you live on a Friday afternoon this week. I think we discussed it last week, and I wrote about in the newsletter. But we had our 1031 portfolio company retreat out in Utah, and
year number 4.
Year number 4. Always a rejuvenating week, inspiring week, and of course, Bitcoin's pumping. I think it knew that the 1031 portfolio was congregating. Any from the hip thoughts on the week that was for us?
Are you asking me?
No, I'm asking Logan. Yes, I'm asking you.
I mean, look, I think it was great. It's always great. I think it's something special that we get to be a part of. I mean, 1031 in total, we've invested in 35 Bitcoin companies. I think, like, just off the top of my head, I want to say like 20 were there. Founders from 20 were there. And it really, it's a broad cross section of the ecosystem, right? There's miners there. There's financial services. There's nodes with Start9. Like, there's just many different types of companies that are all operating in the same industry. It's just great to, see everyone and have more intimate conversation, right? And like be able to talk off the record. And I always come away from it extremely optimistic and extremely bullish. And particularly if you think about it from the perspective of this was year 4 and you think back to year 1, we've come a long fucking way. Not only in terms of like 1031 portfolio, but just as an industry and as a movement, we've come a massive way. So it's cool to see it firsthand. I'm always exhausted after these weeks, so this is also freaks why we're a day late. It was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday was travel. Yeah, now here we are, but never gonna miss a week on you. So the show must go on. What about you, Marty? What are your thoughts?
I co-sign everything you just said, and I just feel complete gratitude for being able to work with some incredible people as we all do our own part individually. Obviously, we're investing via 1031, but we also do this show. You do Citadel Dispatch, I do TFTC, and every other founder is working on their little part in the industry. Some parts are big parts of the industry to move the Bitcoin ball forward. And to your point about it being 4 years, the first year, John Arnold from our team pulled out the stats. The Bitcoin price was 22,000. Hash rate was at 225 exahash. I remember the second year, one of the big topics was, I don't think it had been named at that point, but Operation Choke Point 2.0, the banking crisis. And to think that we're sitting at 122,000, all that's behind us. And it does put into perspective how fast things can change in 4 years.
100%. I see soap miner zapped us 21,000 sats. Yes, we are going to win.
Yeah. No, and on that
Thank you,
point
soap
too,
miner.
of how things can change in 4 years. It's funny because you juxtapose that to what we discussed last week or the week before, which is the amount of unrest that materializes when the price of Bitcoin goes sideways for longer than 2 weeks. It's a long game. It's a marathon, freaks. And during those periods of relative boring price movement, it's important to put things in perspective. Things are happening faster than you realize.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of insane to think that like 5x in 4 years is slow,
It's
but
disappointment. Yeah. Speaking of 5x, it's going up now. We'll go to Clark's dashboard. Current price of Bitcoin is 122,180 cuck bucks. Sats getting more expensive. $1 is going to get you 818 sats. We are at a $2.43 trillion market cap, approaching 2.5. We're currently 1.8% below the previous all-time high of 124,460. That was hit in August, mid-August, August 13th. We are at block height 917,527, which means we had a difficulty adjustment, and it was a pretty big one last week, an upwards adjustment of 6%. New difficulty all-time high at 150 trillion. We are well over zeta hash now, according to mempool.space, sitting at 1.06 zeta hash per second over the last week. And if you look at mempool's mempool, there's 139,654 transactions. Mempool heating up a little bit. Mempools are heating up. 9 sats per VByte if you want to get your transaction in the next block. 8 sats if you have medium priority. 7 sats per VByte if you're willing to wait a bit. And just to make sure we hit all the boxes here, I'll go back to Clark's dashboard, which has his mempool with 23,809 transactions in it. And we are 1,769 blocks away from the next difficulty adjustment, estimated to be on October 15th. As of right now, looking like a downwards adjustment of negative 11%, but it's pretty early in this difficulty epoch, so that is not as reliable as it will be a week from now. That estimated adjustment. What went on in the world this week? We were completely off the grid. I think that was the best thing of this trip, is that you just literally have no cell service for 3 days.
Yeah, you have no cell service and just a lot of good conversation, so you're not looking at your phone. Yeah, I mean, I had to catch up to make the list, so I tried my best. Hopefully, I didn't miss anything of substance. But before we get there, we got a bunch of supporters in the Nostr live chat,
Wow.
which you can find on any compatible Nostr app. I personally am very focused on building out Primal. If you download the Primal app in your favorite app store, it makes it really easy to join the live chat, but you can also go to zap.stream. I see Scarcity Fight Club zapped us 21,000 sats. He said, sup. Zeke zapped us 21,069 sats. Said, dear Lord, bless these two podcasters. And Pleb Ed zapped us 21,000 sats, saying, hash rate heating season is upon us. Plebs, get those miners plugged in. I love to see the momentum on the home heating mining side. I think it's just a nice natural forcing function for decentralizing hash.
I do too.
And on that note, I put in the list because I didn't want to forget. But one of the Ride or Die freaks came out with a Nostr app for Apple TVs called NostrTV, the NostrTV beta. And
test flight right now, right?
Yeah, the link to the test flight is in the show notes. But I think also, I'm pretty sure you can just cast it from the Primal app, or I'm pretty sure you can cast it from like the Primal app or Nostr or Amethyst or Zapstream, wherever you watch. If you don't have an Apple TV and you want to like just send it to your TV. I personally don't have an Apple TV, so I haven't tested it. But this guy, Layer Zero Propaganda, was really excited about the show, and maybe the interface is much better than if you cast. So check it out if you have an Apple TV. That's the cool part about Nostr being an open protocol, is that someone can go and ship an app for a different platform, and it works across the board, which is awesome.
It really does. Phil Mustang on the Nostr live stream, 21,212 sats. Palindrome zap. Marty, you look like my cousin Hank. You know what? Hank's probably a good looking dude, so I'll take that as a compliment.
Shout out Hank.
It's sweater. I mean, going back to the comment on home mining, it's a little cool here in the Northeast, so I had to throw on the sweater. Petronius, Aloha Freaks, Kauai Bitcoin Meetup, October 25th, 8:30 a.m. Meet at Hanalei Pier. Stay humble. Stack sats. 21,000 zap. 21,000 sat zap. I like that early morning meetup. I think that's the first early morning meetup we've ever.
Yeah, that's a cool, and it's at the pier too, which I feel like is like a nice way, on the ocean, start your morning.
Yeah. Shout out to all the Kauai Bitcoiners out there. Aloha. All right, should we get to the list? Because there were some things happening this week. And this is our thumbnail. We have Brian Armstrong on our thumbnail this week, if you're listening on YouTube.
That was better than last week's thumbnail.
Hopefully nobody gets confused and comes in thinking we're Coinbase shills here. But big announcement from Coinbase this week was their partnership with Samsung, which, if we're being honest, does seem pretty big in the sense that you're going to get access to a lot of Samsung users. So Samsung is going to bring crypto to more than 75 million Galaxy users. So it looks like they're going to have the Coinbase One app automatically installed on the phone once they're delivered.
I don't know. Is that what's going on?
That's what I assume.
No, I think it might just be like a pop-up, like sign up for Coinbase.
Exclusive access to Coinbase One will be offered within the Samsung Wallet app in the U.S., introducing more than 75 million Samsung Galaxy owners to a premium crypto experience with the most. Oh, this is just like an embedded
Coinbase
ad.
One. Coinbase,
This is like an embedded ad.
One is their subscription plan. Yeah, I mean, and people seemed excited about it. I don't. It's kind of right now mostly a non-story. But it does leave it open-ended and vague and say, this is the first of many partnerships between Samsung Pay and Coinbase. And really, the holy grail, if you care about Bitcoin as money and like a circular economy developing, I mean, the holy grail to really accelerate adoption is direct integration in Apple Pay and Google Pay, and to a subset, Samsung Pay. I mean, Samsung Pay, if we're to believe their numbers, is 75 million people. That's pretty big adoption. So the ideal situation would be like you could just fund it with Bitcoin, and then when you tap to pay, it automatically sells it, and you can just do mobile pay that way. I heavily doubt that's going to happen anytime soon. It's probably just they'll probably just like make it easy for you to put their credit card in there. Doesn't really change anything. And even if they didn't, it would probably be USDC, and it would probably be Circle instead of Bitcoin. But people are excited about it. Seemed relevant. That's why it's there.
Hopefully we can ride the Coinbase algo rip on YouTube. We had to talk about it. That's just an embedded ad. Coinbase is going to get integrated into Google Pay. People are going to be paying for groceries with Shiba Inu coin.
It's the future.
Shibu Inu, whatever it is. It is the future. I wonder if there'd be any vendor lock-in. Coinbase is like, don't let people download other wallets if they're using this.
I doubt it. I think it's just, but I think it's notable that it's the beginning of a partnership. And there's a lot of Samsung phones out there.
There is. Speaking of Samsung phones, if you're in EU and you have one and you're using Signal app, that could be changing within the next 2 weeks.
Or an iPhone or any other phone.
Yeah. Our girl, Meredith Whitaker, president of the Signal Foundation, came out with a blog post saying that she's very worried right now because it seems like Germany is about to make an about face, reversing its longstanding and principled opposition to the EU's chat control proposal. We've been following the story for probably over 5 years now. The EU has been trying to introduce backdoors into end-to-end encrypted chat applications for many years, but Germany has sort of been the stalwart standing up for privacy within the EU. And she doesn't really say explicitly what leads her to believe this in the article. And I went to the German report that she linked to in her blog post, and it wasn't clear either. But it seems like they have like a new coalition government that may not be as steadfast in terms of protecting privacy, particularly the Minister of Defense. So there's a big vote on October 14th in the European Parliament about this chat control proposal. And
yeah, I mean, she's at the tip of the spear in terms of trying to protect strong encryption standards for the world, and she's constantly speaking publicly about it. And Signal is, from a project point of view and a user number point of view, very much at the tip of the spear for a fight that's been going on for like 30 years, 40 years. So it wouldn't surprise me if she's getting insider information, right, that she decided she needed to sound the alarm for. I mean, it's pretty hard to imagine a stronger source than her if that's actually the case, right? Like, I don't think she would be doing this unless she thought it was a real risk. We reported on this a couple weeks ago. We're obviously not EU government experts, but like the way this works in the EU, it's like a threshold. We covered like the exact threshold of, it's like a certain number of member states need to approve it, but then also it's based on like population of those member states. So some states have more influence than others. There's like a dual base threshold there. And so Germany has been against it this whole time. So Germany flipping would be a big significant change that could result in it getting passed. Now, Signal has said in the past that they will just pull out of any market that does this. They will not comply. They say there's no secure way to comply, and they're correct. I mean, there's no such thing as a secure backdoor. If someone has access to the messages, then anyone can have access to it. The other piece I would say is, just completely a little bit tangential, is it's interesting that it's not a blog post. It's like literally she like reached out to like her assistant. She's like, upload this PDF onto the website. So maybe it's like not actually, maybe they sent this to a bunch of regulators and stuff, and then they just uploaded it to the website.
maybe.
I think they have like an actual blog. I've read things on their actual blog that's not PDFs. It's interesting. It's just interesting that it's not their last blog post was on October 2nd. Yesterday, they posted a real blog post. And this one's a PDF, which is just something to point out.
Yeah. I mean, did we cover it last week? The UK digital ID?
Yeah, of course we did. That was the thumbnail that got us in trouble, remember?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes, it was.
Logan made it just, the YouTube thumbnail was, "We need digital IDs."
I did not make that thumbnail. I made the other one.
Our head of clickbait made it.
Yeah. No, yeah, it seems like that part of the world, Eastern Europe or Western Europe, excuse me, is devolving quickly into overly censorious. And this is par for the course when you lose control of the narrative, lose control of your financial system.
I will say,
and isn't Android about to crack down on sideloading apps?
No, I mean, so a couple of things here. First of all, Android, historically, you've always been able to sideload apps. And on iPhone, you're not able to easily. You have to jailbreak the phone. which is great because it means that on Android, you don't have a central point of failure that is the App Store. That's where they're going to really target these things, right? If you don't comply, they're going to remove you from the App Store in these different jurisdictions. Now, there is a registration process that they're going to require for official Google devices, even for side-loaded apps. But it's different than like their App Store approval process, where they're actually like signing each app that's happening. So it's still going to be more open than Apple. Now, if you're running like Graphene or another Android distro that's not, Google Play Services official distro or whatever, those won't have it. So you can still run Graphene, you can still run Lineage OS. There's like a bunch of other, ones you can run and easily sideload apps. The bigger piece here too is, I think, is a really, and so this is in the software update section, but it's relevant here. This is where, the necessity and the robustness of open source software is truly important. And the story I'm highlighting is the guys behind White Noise are protocolizing what they're building, and they're calling it the Marmot protocol. And the idea is that you have a signal level type of privacy, but it's an open protocol that doesn't require any kind of proprietary foundation run servers or anything like that. So it's much more, right now it's, not that reliable and it needs a lot of work. But it's much more resistant to this type of centralized pressure, because Signal's not a company. They're an independent nonprofit, but they're running the servers that make everything work. So they're a central point of failure that can be pressured, right? WhatsApp is a private company. Facebook has its own incentives, but also it can be pressured, and they can either comply or remove it from app stores. And this is where open source software really becomes truly powerful, right? It is viral in nature. It's really hard to stop. It's easy to distribute. It's easy to use. It's easy to build on top of. And that's where I think the real optimism needs to lie, because as we've said many times in the past, like this fight for freedom on the internet in the digital age is a multi-pronged battle. You have the regulatory side, you have the corporate side, but then you also have the open source side, and the open source side is, like the final defense, right? That's the piece that's just really hard to stop.
Yeah, it's a never-ending battle, and it's only escalating from here. And I feel like it's only going to escalate faster as things get more chaotic. I mean, did you see big news this week in the United States earlier this week? TikTok TikTok US officially getting bought out by Larry Ellison, I think was the largest investor, and a couple others. And he owns
I think like Oracle is, Larry Ellison is like 80%, but there's like Saudi money there. There's a bunch of other money in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, centralized platforms for speech or for money transmission or for any kind of communication is historically the way they've always controlled things, right? It's what makes the digital world relatively easy to control. And open protocols, open source software is what stops that, what makes that obsolete.
Yeah.
I mean, this Marmot open source thing is super exciting. I mean, I've been talking to them a lot. OpenSats has been supporting them. And they're also launching a development kit, right? So like you have BDK for Bitcoin, you have LDK, and now you're going to have, so that's on like a payment side, and now you'll have Marmot development kit.
MDK,
so you can do
baby.
secure messaging, payments. And then hopefully we'll see, many apps come out that support this kind of thing.
Yeah. Marmot provides proven cryptographic standards with Nostr decentralized network to deliver truly private messaging without centralized servers, requiring your phone number or email. Protects both your message content and metadata, meaning it hides who you're talking to, not just what you're saying. Love to see it. Shout out to Jeff, everybody over at White Noise working on this stuff.
And the
Signal.
real hypocrisy here on
Is
the
that
Signal
was
side.
that Signal's
Go on.
actual? Is that Signal's? Do they control that account, or is that like a mirror account?
That's Signal's account. Yeah.
Very good.
The real hypocrisy here is the German government and a lot of the European governments rely on Signal for secure messaging for their own operations. So their politicians think that they have a right to use it, but God forbid the average person has reasonably strong privacy guarantees on the internet.
Yeah. Beware, freaks. Next up on the list, we have ICE, the immigration. What does ICE stand for? Immigration
and Customs Enforcement.
Customs Enforcement raids a Bitcoin mine in Peyote, Texas. Shout out to the Blockspace team, the Blockspace media team, for scooping this story. But yeah, there was a Bitcoin mining operation that ICE raided, and they deported, I think, at least a dozen of the employees there who were Chinese nationals who had overstayed their visas.
Yeah, it seems that there were like 25 employees in total there. And it specifically was like a Bitmain repair facility. So it's for repairing ASICs in Texas. But yeah, that's one of the pieces that I think is an interesting highlight, is that in most of this ICE enforcement news, it's about Hispanic illegals coming from Central and South America. But this one seems like it was mostly Chinese.
It was all Chinese, yeah. I was talking to somebody about it. I mean, that's post-Chinese mining, man. A lot of Chinese miners came over here, and I mean, just make sure you're what's the word I'm looking for? Renewing your visa if you're over here. You know, you're not a citizen.
I will just say that I was at a mine in South America, and they had on-prem ASIC repairs, and they had trained all their people locally, and they were young people. All of a sudden, they had opportunity and well-paying jobs, and it's possible. I think more people should do that.
We had them here in the States too. There's
100%. Yeah.
There's a couple mining repair facilities. I believe one in North Carolina. Others sprinkled throughout the country.
I see Mick zapped 22,000 sats. He said, "Loving the live stream, fellas. Nothing helped this non-dev technical retard to understand Nostr more than the show over the last couple of months. It's really changed my life for the better. Love to hear it. Great to have you." And I see Million zapped us 23,000 sats. It's going to get messy, but we're going to win. I had a great chat with Million on Civil Dispatch from our 1031 event. It was on a beautiful porch overlooking the mountains. So go check that out. It was a great conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see Rob OK in the YouTube chat. Was that was like a Hyundai facility, right? That they raided, and they were all Koreans, right? Yeah.
South Koreans, yeah.
But that one was interesting because, I mean, I don't know, who can you believe? It's always he said, she said, but they said it was temporary to train Americans, right?
Yeah. And I believe they were asked to come build the plant in America so that we could create jobs.
But their visas expired, or I don't know.
Let's avoid the culture war stuff this week. I don't have the energy. Let's talk about good stuff, positive stuff. Did you hear? Did you hear this yet? Breaking news. I don't think you know about this. The 14th wave of OpenSat Bitcoin grants have been sent out.
Wow. Really impressive.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're just going to keep shipping. I think these projects that we're supporting are fucking awesome. And I would like to see them succeed. So just to call out a few, there's 14, I think, on this list. No, there's 10. It's the 14th wave of Bitcoin grants, but it's 10 projects specifically. All the projects we support and all the individual grant recipients we support are listed on OpenSats.org. We're trying to be one of the most transparent charities in the world. But just to highlight a couple of them, Stratum V2 is trying to distribute mining, specifically transaction selector with individual miners being able to choose which transactions are included in the blocks they mine, but also just more secure messaging transport between miners and their mining pools. Orchard is one that I'm really excited about. Orchard is a user interface for managing cashew mints. So, I think one of the cool things about cashew is like individual smaller community mints. And historically, that you've had to be very technical to be able to do that. You can imagine just like an awesome interface that you run on your Start9 that just manages the Lightning node and everything else for your community. I believe we're the largest supporter of BTC Pay Server at this point. Those guys continue to do amazing work. But yes, all the information is listed on the blog post. And if you want to support open source developers in a highly efficient, effective way that has a lot of review by both our volunteer board and our volunteer committee review members, please go to opensats.org. You can donate with dollars or Bitcoin. It's tax deductible. If you donate in dollars, we automatically convert it to Bitcoin. It's like you're DCAing into open source developers. And recently we added automatic credit card donations. So you can set like $20 a month, and we'll automatically convert that to Bitcoin, take no cut, and pass it on to open source contributors.
Oh yeah, it's good to see Mutiny on the list. Mutiny wallet still getting worked on. People taking the baton and running with it.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Is Mutiny on the list? Mutiny is not on the list.
Yes, it is.
I don't see it.
It's on. Oh, that was the first wave of Bitcoin grants. How did I get on that?
Yeah, this is the 14th. This is the 14th wave. Orchard, Floresta, Alt, Signet, Faucet, Lightning Detective, Cove. Cove is awesome. It's on mobile. It's trying to be the Sparrow of mobile. Stratum V2, BTC Pay Server, Satsy's Pocket Guides, Daniela Brosini, and Larink. Last two being independent contributors. But yeah, all listed on the blog and more.
Yeah, your website's got a weird bug on it.
I'll report it to our.
So I clicked BTC Pay Server. I clicked BTC Pay Server on.
Yeah.
And then you click that, and it looks like you're scrolling down the page to BTC Pay Server. And then I scrolled back up, and it takes you back to.
Oh, you're right.
One. Yeah,
you're right. I see that. Yeah, maybe because we already funded them, so it's just he didn't want to re-put the descriptions in every blog post. Yeah. But yeah, that's a good point. That'll be confusing for people. Thanks for highlighting.
That's good for SEO purposes too, Gigi. You should repeat it as much as possible. Boom. Shout out to you guys at OpenSats. On to the Human Rights Foundation story of the week, which is coming from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where the Crown Prince has ordered rent freeze in Riyadh, excuse me. Dyslexic there. In Saudi Arabia, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has ordered a 5-year freeze on residential and commercial rents in the capital of Riyadh. This follows a sharp rise in rent prices in recent years, a trend that the policy aims to curb. Violations face steep financial punishments. Property owners who violate the freeze risk fines of up to a year's rent plus compensation for tenants, and whistleblowers can earn 20% of any fines collected. While billed as relief, rent freezes are a form of price control. that can often yield adverse effects. Property owners may reduce upkeep, shift investments away from housing, or demand informal payments to compensate for the loss of income. This can create shortages and deteriorating conditions, making it disproportionately harder for new or lower income residents to find affordable housing amid the backdrop of authoritarian rule and immense digital repression. For more stories like this and others, go to financialfreedomreport.org, sign up for the newsletter. Price controls never really work.
Yeah, I mean, I think it also really highlights that investment real estate is a shitcoin, and your government can effectively socialize your buildings at will whenever they want. We've seen it happen time and time again, and now we're seeing it happen in Saudi Arabia. I mean, the difference between this versus a government just confiscating your real estate is really like it's not that different. It's quite close to the same thing, particularly if you mix it together with inflation, and you're not, as an owner of a building or a landlord, you're not able to raise rents. It's effectively confiscation. So shitcoin, not a good store of value, investment real estate. And I would put a carve out for a home you're going to live in, because you can't raise a family in a Bitcoin. Two different things.
Rent control coming to a New York City by you next year.
I just really want to go. I want to quickly go back to the OpenSats announcement, because I'm exhausted this week, and I did want to highlight specifically, due to a lot of the discussion that is happening over the last few months in the Bitcoin community, to Floresta. I think Floresta is a really interesting project. So the whole idea is to create a Bitcoin implementation that uses UTXO to make it much easier to sync and have less storage requirements for running a Bitcoin full node. So you can still independently verify Bitcoin, but you have a much the trade-off balance results in a much more efficient implementation. So this is a project that we have supported in the past. They've been making good progress. Now we're supporting another contributor to the project. But I just wanted to highlight that specifically because that's something that we're quite excited about.
Floresta is the Portuguese word for forest. It is a reference to the UTXO accumulator, which is a forest of Merkle trees. I like that. It's a very good name. That's a great name. Shout out to the Floresta.
By combining pruning with UTXO, Floresta has reduced storage requirements and sync times, making it possible to run full nodes on resource-constrained devices while still independently verifying Bitcoin. This support specifically will expand its RPC interface, so it'll be more similar to how current developers and infrastructure providers integrate Bitcoin Core, so it can be more of a drop-in replacement. Like if you're currently running Bitcoin Core, you can easily switch to it.
Love to see it. Love to see it. Shout out to Traja for UTXO. Very underrated Bitcoiner. It's not underrated. Probably not well known enough in wider Bitcoin Twitter circle.
Medium rated.
Yeah. Next up on software update section of the show, Sparrow version 2.3.0 has been released. This comes with send to silent payments, pay to DNS address, and it'll gather your min fee rate from the server.
It is pretty funny. So this update allows you to send sub 1 sat fees. It would be pretty funny if we don't fall below 1 sat per byte again. Definitely not making a bet, but it would be like just shout out Craig Raw, right? Like he goes out and builds it, updates Sparrow, and then we don't see them again. We probably will see them again. I'm definitely not a hill I'm trying to die on anymore. But silent payments, pretty awesome. We saw Craig release Frigate, which makes it easy to run silent payments on the server side. Silent payments' big trade-off is that the user has to be able to figure out, what addresses are used for each payment in a more computation-intensive way. A lot of people have done that on the local side rather than the server side. And he made a very efficient way to use it with Electrum server so that you can do it on the server side. But silent payments, just to remind people, is like a different take on the same goal as BIP47 and paynims before it. But the idea is that you could give someone something that looks like an address, just a text string, and they're able to pay a new address every time they pay you. So you don't have address reuse, which is strictly a privacy improvement. So I absolutely love to see it.
Yeah. Shout out to Craig and the team, the large team that he has over there at Sparrow, working on all of this. My favorite desktop wallet.
Yeah, no, like my family and projects heavily rely on Sparrow. That's a perfect example of a integral key open source project that if I didn't have, my life would be strictly worse. So thank you, Craig.
Yeah.
Also, reminder, there's no Sparrow mobile wallet. There's a bunch of scam wallets out there. The official website is sparrowwallet.com. But with the popularity of Sparrow has come the scams. A lot of fake wallets out there that have the Sparrow branding. So make sure you go to the correct website when you download Sparrow. And that's desktop only, Mac, Linux, Windows.
Staying on the wallet thread, this was pretty big from Cold Card. Disclaimer, sponsor of the show, 1031 portfolio company.
But 1031 is the exclusive investor in Cold Card.
Yes. Cold Card has released new spending policy, which is really cool. So spending policy for single signers, you can now take your existing single signer Cold Card and reconfigure it so that the Cold Card will refuse to sign transactions that are quote unquote too big or quote unquote too fast, or send to an address not on your whitelist. So you can basically say, hey, somebody's trying to spend, you have a Bitcoin and you want to limit the amount of Bitcoin that can leave over a certain period to 10 million sats. You can do that. And you can set timing conditions where I don't want to be able to move more than one Bitcoin off this wallet over the course of X amount of blocks. Makes it harder to steal, obviously, or adds more burden to a $5 wrench attacker. And then this is what I thought was extremely cool. They found a way to support 2FA authentication using the usual phone apps. If it's enabled, you'll not be able to spend using your Cold Card unless you also have your phone and provide the correct 6-digit numeric code. This is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, people are already very familiar with two-factor. They use it to secure plenty of other apps. Obviously, you're not just relying on the two-factor here. You're also relying on the incredibly strong hardware guarantees of Cold Card in the first place. But I think this goes with the trend that we've talked about in the past, which is I think it's been a mistake in this industry to, multi-sig is awesome. But a lot of recommendations are like, if you're going to self-custody, you have to use multi-sig. And if you're not going to do that, you should buy MSTR, the ETF instead. And no, I think single sig is incredibly powerful for a lot of people, and it depends on your technical proficiency and use case and threat model on what is the best Bitcoin setup for you. For public figures, for large organizations, companies, multi-sig should be the default recommendation. But for the average user, single sig offline cold storage is an incredibly powerful tool. And the nice part about it is it's much less complex and burdensome than multi-sig. So with Cold Card, NVK, and Peter, their goal has been to just give users as many tools as possible. This update is majorly focused on, improving single sig security guarantees on how you want to use it, depending on how you want to use it. But I would say specifically the two-factor is really cool. The spending policies, there's a lot of interesting ways that you can, I think, use that to have a more resistant setup or a more secure setup. And there's a lot of work behind the scenes to basically, they're calling it, like when you have these spending policies in place, it's called hobble mode. So stuff like exporting the seed and stuff are not possible unless you put in a separate pin. So then you get two pins. And the coolest part is because it's single sig, at the end of the day, all you have to do is secure your seed. Like if you take your 12 or 24 words and you put it in steel and you secure it somewhere safe, maybe have a redundant copy. If you lose your two-factor app, if you mess up your pins, anything like that, you make a spending policy that's way too aggressive or something like that, you can always just restore from seed. So you have the peace of mind that you have these backup words that you can always, and you don't necessarily have to restore it on a cold card either. You can restore it in Sparrow Wallet. You can restore it in hardware wallets provided by other vendors. Really, really fucking cool. Absolutely love to see it.
Yeah, Logan, go back like 40 seconds in the demo, but for the 2FA here, it's really cool. Looks like they have a companion sort of URL. You'll go to set up a transaction. It'll ask you to put your 2FA code into this website or this URL, this app here. Then you'll be able to sign that, and she'll give you the authority to transaction.
They had to do this because two-factor relies on a working clock, and cold card doesn't have a clock in it, and it doesn't have internet by design. So they figured out a workaround so that it could work with two-factor apps and like the standard two-factor open protocol.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Shout out to NVK, Peter and crew over there. Vibes are high. Looks like they have a post on our Bitcoin too. NVK is asking for people to go on our Bitcoin and upvote his post.
Reddit is so fucking gameable. Confurnius has zapped 21,212 sats, and he says open water BTC is the best BTC. I agree. We're not in open water Bitcoin yet.
I was going to say, is this open water? I don't think so.
No, we have to pass the previous all-time high before we're in open water, but it is the best.
We're in micro pump territory. Okay, micro pump. It is a pump, but it's a micro pump. Feels good though. Feels good. The price was just going up. Every morning we'd wake up on this retreat, the price was a little higher. Vibes were high.
Yeah, Marty pretends he doesn't check the price, but then you stay in an Airbnb with him and he's just like constantly just shouting out the price every time it changes.
That didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. I'd be lying if I said I didn't send a screen. My wife doesn't check the price. I just sent her a screenshot. She's like, "Oh my god, it's $120,000." Yeah, it's back there. Get the champagne ready. Moving on, Shakespeare, Act 2. Act 2 is a dramatic improvement over the first version of Shakespeare. We have completely rewritten the code from the ground up. It is more freedom-respecting AI web builder tool. So this is from Alex Gleason, correct?
Yes. And I had him on Citadel Dispatch to talk about Shakespeare Act 1.
You built this is what you built. Who won your price prediction last month?
I mean, this is why it's an actual pump, Marty, because that was a week ago and the price lock-in was $109,000, which is like, I mean, the difference between 109,000 and 122, it feels like a big difference. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. Someone, what was it? It's price prediction game .shakespeare.2. It looks like it has a bug because it changed what the lock price is. But this is vibe coded apps for you. But whoever it was got paid. I actually paid the wrong person 5,555 sats, and then I discovered the right person, and they were off by about $100, which is a pretty impressive prediction. And so I paid out two people the prize, and it was 109,500, something like that was the lock-in date on September 26th, about a week ago. But the cool thing about Shakespeare is, so Shakespeare, the creator of Shakespeare is Alex Gleason, who formerly built out Truth Social for Trump, has a lot of experience on the social side. So he got very interested in Nostr, and now he's very interested in AI and vibe coding. So Shakespeare uses Bitcoin, and he's a Bitcoiner, uses Bitcoin for payments, open API for the world, uses Nostr for communications and identity, open API for the world, and LLMs, AI models, to create a super easy way for people to vibe code. Super easy way for people to vibe code apps that have all the support for those two open protocols. So you can, like, the sky's the limit, and it is incredibly easy. As Marty said, in 3 prompts, I created a Bitcoin price prediction game where people were making predictions on Nostr, and it was automatically feeding into the vibe coded app. And the cool part is, with a lot of vibe coded apps, you have security issues, but because it uses Bitcoin and because it uses Nostr, you're not managing any login systems. You're not managing any backend stuff. It's all front end stuff. You don't have to go pay for an API like a Twitter API or a Stripe API or something like that for payments. So you can just iterate really quickly. You don't have to have a secure backend. You can just build all these different cool front end applications. And Shakespeare Act 2 is taking it a step further, gives you much more functionality, the ability to switch which AI models you use, and do things locally rather than server based. So this is a really big update. Absolutely love to see it. And if you haven't listened to the Scylla Dispatch I did with him, consider going to listen to it, because we actually were vibe coding live on air. And it's easier than you think it is. Like, anyone can do this.
Yes, this is. I mean, he says it in Act 2. While companies like Lovable, Replit, and Cursor lock you into their platforms, AI models, and hosting solutions, Shakespeare Act 2 has been rebuilt from ground up. Complete freedom over all those things, but it would be really fascinating to see if this actually begins to eat into the market share of those 3 apps specifically. They're darlings of the AI world right now, and if Shakespeare can catch hold and this sort of open source, open model can win, it'd be very interesting. That's all I'll say. It looks like he's shipping at breakneck speed. I mean, just the screenshots of the interface alone compared to
100%.
when I last checked, it looked completely different. Like, it does look very Replit-esque, particularly in the preview and building photo.
And Alex is an open source grant recipient too, OpenSats grant recipient. So I absolutely love to see it. He's one of our LTS grant recipients. So that's on a 2-year basis, paid out monthly in Bitcoin. So you can focus on open source without worrying about paying the rent, and he can actually do it full time, which is really fucking cool.
Shout out to Alex, and shout out to OpenSats for letting him do his thing. Ships fast.
I see Million. I've been told sometimes that I say too much on air, but Million's giving us permission in the live chat that they have a solid primal update in the pipeline, which will level up the streaming UX. Hopefully ready by next RHR. I'm currently testing it. It's awesome. So
when can
shipping fast.
Million, when can I test it?
Do we not have you on the test flight?
Oh yeah, I'm on there.
He shipped an update this morning.
Oh, I got to update. My bad for accusing. I have it. Hashpool live on testnet v4. This is actually talked about Hashpool a lot this week. VMPRC and Gary, you guys are inspiring people. People are very interested in hash pools. So it's live on testnet 4, and it currently has 6,069,840,960 ehash. I'm clicking them in here. Minting.
Yeah, so I mean, I think hash pools are awesome. I think VNPRC is a legend among men, and a fantastic open source contributor. I see Average Gary is saying VNPRC does most of the work, but he's getting there. I mean, hash pools are really cool just at the top level because it uses Cashew. to make it much easier for smaller miners to mine privately with just a better trade-off balance than your standard custodial setup. So right now, for people that are not aware, if you have a small amount of hash rate, you are using a pool in the custodial way until you're able to withdraw to your own wallet. So that trade-off of cashew, that it is custodial in that, you know, you're trusting the mint operator to not inflate you or rug you, is kind of irrelevant in this situation because the status quo is that already. So with that being said, then you get additional privacy benefits from cashew. You get the additional programmability benefits. And I think personally, this will be very interesting as like small proxy pools that are mining with a much larger pool. I think it could be really, really interesting. You can imagine a situation where you have a pool like Ocean, and there are 10, 15, 20 smaller proxy hash pools that are mining into there, and Ocean sees them as individuals. But on the back end, there's, 100, 200 people that are mining through hash pools. That's pretty cool. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It really is. I'm trying to figure out how to join this. Is this invite only right now?
I do not think so.
Right now, it's 5 miners connected, producing 4.9 terahash a second. They've created 61,335 shares for testnet 4. This isn't on mainnet yet, but
I see Gary's caps lock button is broken, and he's saying, more importantly, we get hash rate marketplaces, FPPS for your friends, not for Mantpool.
yeah. So for
a lot of cool things here.
Yeah, so when you're producing hashes and pointing them at a hash pool, you're getting eHash tokens commensurate with the amount of hash, or the amount of hashes you're with the amount of shares, that you're sending the pool. Then you can go sell those eHash tokens for sats over the Lightning Network immediately. So that's what Gary's saying here. FPPS for your friends, not for Mantpool. And so it's creating this hash rate marketplace where if somebody wants to take on the risk, the luck risk of the pool, they can exchange your eHash tokens for actual sats. They'll pay for them in sats, and so you can monetize those tokens immediately if you're a miner. Not have to wait for Ampool or Foundry to pay you out every day with their FPPS model. It's a beautiful.
I will say, we also have Justin from the Fediment open source project in the comments saying Fediment will also have beta multi-currency support starting in V0.9. I recently had Justin and Brad on Scylla Dispatch from the Fediment open source project, and that introduction and recommendation was made by VNPRC. So it's all coming together, freaks.
Good people helping good people, That's what it's all about. We got central authorities don't seem to be good people right now. They're not looking to help good people like you and me. We got to band together, help each other out, and more importantly, build the tools that will enable us to stay free. All right, back to the list. What do we got next? Last but not least, well, it's not last because I added a few things to the list. KG releases ad-free news app.
Yeah, so this is not related to Nostr, not related to Bitcoin, tangentially related to AI, but I don't know how to pronounce it. KG.
It's like Kagi to me.
Kagi it's a great privacy focused search tool is their main business, and they offer a bunch of other tools, and it's a subscription model. So you pay them in Bitcoin, and you get really good search with strong privacy guarantees. And this is their latest app that they've shipped. It's just fucking awesome. It's ad-free news. They're compiling it from a bunch of different sources using RSS feeds. Then they're doing AI analysis on it and giving you a very strong summary. It's super customizable on like how you want the summary to look. Like, do you want a timeline in there? Do you want links to the original sources that they pulled it from. Do you want quotes to be pulled out? Do you want images? Like, you can choose all the different things that are in the stories. And then they just update it at noon UTC every day. So it's one-time update. So it like removes the doom scrolling. So you can stay up to date on the news. You're not doom scrolling. You're not constantly pulling to refresh to see what else happens. It's just every morning. And so just keep in mind, noon UTC is 8 a.m. Eastern time. So 8 a.m. Eastern time every day, they're just updating all the stories. And it's just fantastic. It just works really, really well. They're not tracking you. I mean, obviously you have to trust them that they're not tracking you. They're not selling ads. They're not trying to get you addicted to the app. I just absolutely love to see it. And just in general, they're just a great company. They're just one of those awesome companies that's trying to do it the right way, trying to align incentives with users, not trying to do the data surveillance model that has completely dominated our tech landscape, and trying to do it in a sustainable way. They're Bitcoiners. They're active on Nostr. So check out all their stuff. But specifically this news app, if you've been looking to a news alternative from doom scrolling, which I've been looking for years, I think this might be it. It's really great.
I'm playing with it now. Easy to download. It seems like this is a free offering.
It's completely free. Yes. This is just like, I think the way they justify it is it's top of funnel for everything else they do. They also have another free app that just summarizes any article that you're reading on the internet using AI. So they're like already running the infrastructure, and they figured, hey, let's do it. Let's solve this problem.
You know, Apple shifting the Vision Pro team to focus on AI wearable glasses now?
Yeah, I mean, Facebook really is leading the way on that. I mean, I think it's quite dystopian, the idea of having everyone have, internet connected camera glasses on them. It's like Ring cameras on everyone's faces. But let's be honest. We made fun of them as soon as the Apple Vision Pro got released. It's like no one's going to walk around with huge goggles on. Even at home, you feel like a fucking idiot wearing those goggles, probably. So obviously, I think glasses are probably the form factor that we see become more dominant on that side. It's glasses, and it's going to be just also, I think, microphone stuff, right? Like, I think people overthink it. And I know people have a love or hate relationship with AirPods, but like, I think the AirPod form factor is an ideal AI form factor. If you actually nail it and you're able to use local models and stuff, and it's just like super quick, it's a really strong form factor.
Sorry, I had a mute.
You're good.
On. But speaking of like wearables, I'm sure you saw this, but look and pull up the latest tweet I put in to our Signal chat. Do you see the backlash from this what's it, friend.com?
Which is the hardware being complete shit?
Well, it's complete shit, and then they're doing like a whole physical billboard ad campaign throughout New York City. You're actually looking, this is better. Pull this one up. People have completely just violated every single one of these posters in the New York subway. AI is not your friend. Look up Palantir. AI kill chain.
Human
connection is sacred.
So this device is supposed to be like a wearable you wear around your neck. They did pre-orders. It's like massively VC funded by the typical big tech VCs. And the build quality is just also horrible. It's just like, it looks like people were making fun. It looks like a dog squeaker, like the toys, like when the dog destroys a dog toy, it's just like a little plastic fucking circle that hangs around your neck. And once again, I think people are overthinking it to a degree, sometimes unintentionally, sometimes intentionally, just to, scam VCs and scam investors. But just look at what's been successful so far on form factors. Like, I think there will be some changes with AI in terms of, maybe new innovative form factors. But what are the successful form factors? It's the earbuds, it's the phone, and it's the watches, right? How many people do you see wearing Apple Watches nowadays or Samsung watches? Tons and tons of people. I know we're not, but a lot of people do. And then so you think it's like, are people going to wear a big ass AI medallion around their neck, or are they going to use the smartwatch that they already have on? Like, it seems pretty obvious to me. But yeah, their advertising campaign is also like super dystopian.
Well, not only that, but as like
an interesting strategy.
Like the amount of money they spent on that campaign and the domain name itself.
Is it friend.com?
Yeah. Friend spent a massive chunk of its funding on buying friend.com. They spent even more taking over the NYC subway station. All these moves garnered attention. Attention builds hype, which builds intrigue, which boosts sales. That much is true. None of that matters, however, when the product sucks. This product is just frankly not very good. So it's just capital set on fire.
I see Jeremy zapped 21,000 sats under the. Oh, actually, he zapped 20,999 sats, which technically doesn't hit our threshold for reading, but I'll read it anyway. Under the fucking radar zap. Insomnia in Korea has me finding y'all alive again. Whoop.
Shout out to you joining us from Korea. Oh. All right, Logan, go back to right under the list. Let's talk about a couple things going on in the economy.
Wait, before we go there, because you mentioned anti-Palantir sentiment, Marty and the gentleman at TFTC came out with their latest AI video that was anti-CBDCs, and a bunch of TikTokers thought it was a Palantir ad and went viral with people shitting on Palantir over their dystopian ad that Marty and the boys created. How funny is that? I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Shout out to Ed and Trevor. Those are the two that worked on that video in here. But it's great. You know, it's a lot of these, and I wonder if there's like going to be a diminishing marginal return on the novelty of these AI generated videos. We're working a couple more now, but every single one of them has got picked up by like some TikToker who's misconstrued it. I thought this one was the funniest though, because they were saying it was a Palantir ad when it was like the exact opposite. It was a warning that Palantir could lead us to that.
Yeah, like how retarded could you be? Like literally the ending frames are like CBDCs are horrible for you. Like escape the dystopia, and they're like, oh my god, this is a Palantir ad.
Oh god, they're gonna get us. I saw something about Palantir today too. Their stock's down 20%.
Yeah, there was some kind of army memo that
army memo went out, so it was not secure at all.
Well, specifically, it was actually something Anduril based, but they work very closely together. They're funded by the same people. And
Palantir not secure. Some exposed backdoors, apparently, according to the U.S. Army.
I mean, one, that's not very surprising, and two, I don't think long term that's going to make much of a difference. I mean, they're Palantiring and Anduriling up the entire military industrial complex in a really big way. And like what, Palantir's up like 3,000% or maybe even higher. It's interesting when it's like news that it's down 4%. I haven't checked it since we went live, but last I checked, it was like 4.5% down. It's down 6.5% today.
Beware.
It's up.
Right, Logan.
It's up 350% in the last year.
Oh God. This was big news. I lost you. There you are. Pull to Mohammed El-Arain. It's funny. All the haters who've been hating on Bitcoin for years are coming around. And having to recognize that Bitcoin is not only here to stay, but something that is highly coveted. This is Mohammed El-Arain, who is commenting on a CNBC reporting. I think Mohammed has been very bearish Bitcoin for many years now, and he's one of the mainstream finance think boys that a lot of people respect. He said, per the CNBC reporting, the strategy favoring gold and Bitcoin now has a name. JP Morgan analysts are calling it the debasement trade. And so JP Morgan analyst, I believe, if I'm reading this section of the CNBC article correctly, it seems like they went and did a survey with their clients asking why or why not they're investing in Bitcoin. I think they got an overwhelming response of people saying we are into it, and we're into it because it reflects a combination of factors, which in their client conversations range from the elevated geopolitical policy uncertainty to uncertainty about the longer-term inflation backdrop to concerns about debt debasement due to persistently high government deficits across major economies to concerns about Fed independence to waning confidence in fiat currencies in certain emerging markets in particular, and to a broader diversification away from the US dollar. And so it looks like the banks and the popular finance analysts and fund managers are beginning to wake up after almost 17 years that Bitcoin is here to stay, and people want it because they recognize that governments and central banks are completely debasing their currencies. And when you juxtapose the uncertainty of the fiat system with the reliability, resilience, and certainty of the Bitcoin network, there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. Blocks are going to be created roughly every 10 minutes. It's a transparent ledger. Consensus rules make it so only valid transactions are confirmed. And people want that certainty, the resilience, the reliability.
I mean, we've been saying it for years, but it's crazy to see it said out loud by CNBC.
Yeah. The debasement trade. That's like some mimetic accelerant right there. If people believe that debasement is just, and we all believe it.
I guess specific. This is JP Morgan called it this.
Yes.
There you go. That's crazy.
JP Morgan analyst, not Jamie Dimon himself yet, but JP Morgan.
Gradually, then suddenly, people start to realize.
Yeah. And then one other thing I had here. I didn't put it in, but I can just say we don't need it, but we don't need to pull it up. Oh, there's two other things actually. Yesterday, 2 nights ago, overnight, the government, the Treasury, added $60 billion in debt. So we're currently sitting at $37.864 trillion in national debt here in the United States. So if they were to do that moving forward, we would be at 38 trillion by the by the middle of next week. So we're approaching $38 trillion in debt. And Logan, actually pull this tweet up because I think it's actually very illuminating, particularly in terms of how pervasive the zombie economy is. So the zombie company, zombie economy is reference to the fact that you have a bunch of businesses that would have otherwise failed being propped up by the money printer. And I'm not going to say that Coca-Cola would otherwise have failed, but since the government has made it illegal to buy sugary drinks with food stamps, Coca-Cola is beginning to report negative cash flows for the first time in decades.
Well, I saw something else. Like, what is it? It's like 40% of Coca-Cola products are bought with food stamps. Was that the stat, or am I remembering
42%
it
of
wrong?
Coca-Cola's U.S. revenue comes from food stamps. Yeah, that was from 2 years ago.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, when you do stuff like this, it's like, well, does that includes like the family of Coca-Cola products? Is that like people buying Dasani water and stuff? Probably, right?
I would assume so, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is when you're breaking the free market. Companies don't have actual pressures to improve their operations. I mean, Coca-Cola is a juggernaut, but maybe they'd have to actually, have better product in order to compete.
Yeah.
Did you see the zap from McCoy?
No.
This is how we just grind ourselves down. 20,999 sats zapped by McCoy. Let's fucking go. New threshold.
It's crazy. Like how many other zombie companies like that exist? The government subsidies keeping Coca-Cola above, like pushing Coca-Cola to profitability.
There's so much shit like that. I mean, what about like the entire healthcare industry?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is why, like, the Doge concept, really resonated with me, because you have to do like the only it gets to a level of grift that, like, the only way you can actually figure out where the problems are is if you just clean house and try and start fresh. Like the Elon approach of just coming into X and just canceling all the credit cards and seeing what breaks. It's like, because it goes so deep everywhere.
Like
It's just hard to comprehend.
Coke is vaunted as this pristine American brand. I mean, it is a
I mean,
pristine
it still
American.
is.
Yeah, I mean, like it definitely is, but like the fact that they just are basically able to survive, not only survive but profit massively because the government is printing money and airdropping it in EBT accounts.
I mean, in this case, are they going to lose money this year, or are they just not going to be as profitable?
They just printed the first 2 months of negative cash flows and decades.
So losses.
Yes.
I mean, it's also like there's also an argument that, it's being combined with like recessionary stuff, because like I do think we're like in a silent depression right now.
Yeah, but I don't think Coke products are luxury goods that people will be cutting back on first.
I mean, they have tons of stuff. Like what are the Coca-Cola brands? I mean, Dasani's the one I keep thinking of. But like there's a bunch of stuff that like compete with tap water if you're poor. Topo Chico.
Fanta, Cola, Dasani, Aquarius, Coke Zero, No Sugar, Fresca, Minute Maid, Diet Coke, Sprite, Fairlife, Fuse Tea, Gold Peak Tea, Appletizer, Schweppes, Aquabana, Shield, Barks. I love Barks root beer, I'm not gonna lie. I'll have a Barks like once every other year. Ayataka, Costa Coffee, Mellow Yellow. I haven't heard that one in a while. Powerade, Vitamin Water, Topo Chico. Oh, yeah, they did just buy Topo Chico. And Simply Beverages.
Simply is like orange juice. It's like the expensive orange juice.
Yeah. If you actually look, Simply orange juice is actually legit. It doesn't have any high fructose corn syrup in it. Here's their lemonade.
I mean, maybe there's actually be some pressure now for Coke to get rid of high fructose corn syrup and release one with cane sugar in it.
Yeah. Look, and pull this.
I would say like they're also getting like squeezed on both sides, right? Because it's like people that can afford it also aren't drinking. And like my family will not drink any of those fucking sodas.
No.
So they're kind of getting hit on both sides. It's hard to isolate, where's what, but it's definitely part of it. I mean, clearly.
Yeah, they have over 200.
I see Aaron in the live chat saying it's called Mexican Coke. That, by the way, is one of the psyops. Like in America, we call it Mexican Coke because the Mexican Coke is the closest to us. But it's really like global Coke doesn't have high fructose corn syrup. There's only like a handful of countries that use high fructose corn syrup. You go to like Europe or whatever, like British Coke is got real sugar in it. That's just our American privilege of just having shittier ingredients than everyone else.
It's the American way.
Yeah.
And we got the expensive insulin to save you when you get the diabetes from the oils and the high fructose corn syrup. All right, last one. I want to pull this up. Like pulling on this thread, Coke being heavily subsidized by the U.S. government via the EBT program. First time having negative cash flows in decades. And I think when you corrupt the money, when you issue debt and just flood it to the economy, misallocate capital, it's really hard to tell what the hurdle rate should be. And I just thought this analysis by Porter Stansberry, who's a great follow on Twitter if you're not following him, it was a great thread. I retweeted it, so you can go to my page and find it from a couple of days ago. And he basically starts the thread, but if you're trying to understand why gold is going parabolic, please read this thread. It's also why 52% of Americans who do not own financial assets are being destroyed what is the real rate of inflation in absent the Fed? What would the interest rate be? That's how he prefaces it. I'm not going to read the whole thread word for word, but the tweet we pulled up here. Basically, if you take the actual rate of inflation, which he's using the Chapwood index to gauge what it is, and you use the Taylor rule, which the Fed does use to basically determine the Fed funds rate, what you do is you take the rate of inflation, do some Taylor rule calculus, and then you add that output on top of the inflation. That's how you get to where the Fed funds rate should be. Obviously, CPI is low. So the Fed funds rate right now is 4.75. But if you use the Taylor rule with actual inflation numbers, the short-term rate should be somewhere around 17.5%. And so you have just a wild mispricing of
Brutal.
the cost of money, and it leads to a misallocation of capital.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right to at least where my gut is, like somewhere between like 10 and 20%.
Yeah.
I mean, to his number on 52% of Americans don't own assets like stocks or bonds or whatever, or Bitcoin or gold. I think that number is also probably way higher, like in any kind of meaningful amount. Like there is, this was actually a conversation I had offline the other day, which is there's about 240 million adult Americans, 220 to 240 million adult Americans. What percent of them do you think have savings greater than $100,000 liquid? So not houses.
220.
I mean, you can do percentage wise if you want.
Over $100,000 liquid.
Liquid, like in stocks or a bank account or in gold or Bitcoin. We'll count gold as liquid.
15%, so around 30 million, maybe.
I think it's less than that.
I think so.
I think it's probably less than that. And that's pretty fucked up when you start to think about it. Like they're just, especially in a high inflation environment, they're just getting absolutely wrecked. And then there's a subset of those that are just keeping it in like a savings account or something, and they're also still getting wrecked, even the ones with savings.
Yeah, and then you have like the boomers who definitely have that in their 401ks, but they've been shifted to the 60-40 or 80-20 bond stock portfolio, and bonds have been down for 5+ years.
Yeah, I mean, I think my gut would be like 10 million Americans, 10 million adult Americans have greater than 100,000 liquid savings.
Yeah, I mean, to this point, back to the quarter.
I think someone asked Grok, and Grok said 35 million for what it's worth.
I said 30. I guess 30. Yeah. But to this point about like the mispricing of capital, I think that's, and we've talked about this before, but I think it's being driven home again. Obviously, the Fed cut rates by 25 bips last month. Many are saying it wasn't enough, but people are just convinced like, oh, the Fed's going to cut rates and mortgage rates are going to go down. The 10-year and the 30-year are going to go down. That's not happened. Like since the Fed cut rates on the 15th of last month, the 10-year was at 4.026. The yield was on the 10-year. Now it's at 4.121. And so it's gone up pretty materially for bond yields. Mortgage rates are going up, and this is the free market. Right? So, like, yes, it's a U.S. Treasury yield, but the yield is set by the free market demand for the bonds at auction or floating on the free market at any given point in time. And I think this is a signal, like, hey, yeah, the Fed is mispricing money. Like, it's not doing it the right way.
At our retreat, to all of our founders, Marty made fun of me for saying mandibles all the time. I feel like I'm allowed to break Chatham House rules for a troll against me, but meanwhile, he describes mandibles every episode. So.
That's true. to be positive though. Good things are happening.
I mean, look, I don't do it from like a black pill point of view. I think there's plenty of opportunity in an inflationary environment if you're aware it's happening and you prepare accordingly. And I think humanity will flourish afterwards, partially because we have Bitcoin and other open source technologies that empower individuals to take control over our own lives and our own futures, because our governments continue to fail us over and over again.
Yeah. And speaking of that, Logan, last thing I'll pull up. I thought this was really cool. I saw this earlier today. Speaking of open source technology, the open source technology that we talk about mostly here revolves around software, distributed systems, and a lot of times hardware wallets and stuff like this. I saw this earlier today. I looked into
Nostr, right? Someone tagged us.
I saw it on X first, but
oh, interesting.
Saw it on X. That dude, what's his name? Vermilion, I forget, but he's like a famous like optimistic tech poster on X.
Oh, so someone probably it looks like I was the only one tagged. Someone probably pulled it from X and tagged me. This looks fucking awesome. I love this shit.
Yeah, but like open source hardware. This guy was saying like how he has built all the industrial building equipment that you would need, tractors, things like that, for a tenth of the cost, and made it in a modular way, so it's all repairable rather cheaply.
This is the quote that I was tagged in. The Global Village Construction Set, GVCS, is a modular DIY low-cost high-performance platform that allows for the easy fabrication of the 50 different industrial machines that it takes to build a small, sustainable civilization with modern comforts. We're developing open source industrial machines that can be made at a fraction of commercial costs and sharing our designs online for free. So it's like proper Citadel tech right there.
Really fucking cool. I saw this video. He doesn't mention Bitcoin once. You go to the website, Logan, scroll down a little bit, and they accept Bitcoin for donations.
I mean, of course he's a Bitcoiner.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It does have some shitcoins on the donation page, but and he spells Bitcoin with a capital C, but still using legacy addresses,
Can't win them all.
No. But this is really cool to see. OpenSourceEcology.org for anybody listening that did not see that.
Yeah, Logan, throw it in the bottom of the show notes. Awesome. We said we're going to do a tight hour. It looks like we've officially hit the 90-minute point. Logan was right again.
We did it.
Logan was like, you guys are going to do a tight 90-minute hour is what he said.
Yeah, and we did. Logan, where are we at right now?
1 hour 27. Almost hour 28.
A tight 87 minutes. A tight 87-minute hour.
88 minutes right now.
Okay, so I see Marp in the live chat. He says there's 23.5 million millionaires in the U.S. He says there's got to be more than 10 million people with 100K plus in liquid assets. The key is the liquid part, because there's a high percentage of those millionaires that are sitting on the majority of their equity is in their homes. It's in their houses. And if you've ever tried to sell a house, they are not liquid at all. Maybe in boom times, during like the COVID boom or something. But, usually you're looking at like 6 to 12 months to offload that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, liquid. Can you get the cash in the bank account same day? That's how I would determine it. Or within 3 days, maybe.
But see, 23.5 million, I would almost treat that as an upper bound. Because there's probably not that many people that are millionaires with 100K, 1 Bitcoin worth of savings, that are not millionaires.
0.8 Bitcoin worth of savings now these days.
Yeah.
Today. Beautiful thing to see. All right. I'm having an allergy attack. I'm sneezing. I'm sure you guys can see it. Naughty Bent did not make it on today.
Great rip. Love your Marty. Love your freaks. Amble stack sats.
Love all y'all. Peace and love.